the Grom from Adelaide micro drones. It's like a 1.5 inch little quad. It's pusher. For a little bit extra money you can get this 3D printed case. The Grom Adelaide micro drones. This can be purchased as a bind and fly, or it can also be purchased as a kit that you build yourself, so you can learn how to build drones. It is a small one, so it's quite hard. That's the frame kit that you'll get. The Grom will be using T-motor 1104 7500 kV. I'll be running on 3S. We're going to use the Mamba Nano 16x16 stack, the Runcam Nano 2. My receiver will be the Ghost Atto, the HDLRZ Zeus VTX, which has 16x16 mounting, which is great. It's also a pusher style quad. It comes with prop guards and little 31mm props. Tiny. The first thing I'm going to do is get the stack into this little thing, into the base plate. On the inside of the lid you can QR code this. It will take you to the instruction manual for this bad boy. Sorry, bumped the camera. Tiny 16x16. This is the version 1.2. You can tell that by, in the version 1.2 you have the PPM pad here and the 3.3 volt. On the version 1 it won't have those two pads there, and so this one can be used with Crossfire or Ghost. It has the extra UART for it, whereas the version 1 is only on S-Bus. The first thing I need to do is remove the pre-installed stack bolts, which are M2 and they're plastic. I will be changing them over to the longer ones, and I might have to just trim a millimeter or two off the top because they do hit the top just a little bit, but that will give me enough room to mount the HDLRC VTX on top. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull this little bad boy apart. The FC and ESC is not connected by a pinned cable, it's connected by pins direct from board to board. So I have all of the 4 stack screws that come pre-installed out now. You'll leave the 2 grommets in there. As you can see on this side here, that black connector in the middle is the ESC to FC connector, the pins. I'm going to grab the frame now, and that's going to mount that way. It comes with a little spacer which will sit on the bottom there. You get another one as well which gives a little bit of a raise, but this comes with these little tiny grommets which I'll use. First thing I'll do is you run the longer stack bolts that I'm going to use through the bottom. Slide that in. Get all 4 of them in there. It's a bit tricky with where the camera is. This is a GoPro 10 with a macro lens on it, and I'm sorry if it wobbles because it's hanging from a roof, because I am not a film dude. But all of these parts are purchasable from Adelaide Micro Drones. I've lost a screw, there it is. Stack bolt, all of these, yeah, purchasable from Adelaide Micro Drones. There is a few different, there's I think 1 different stack option, which will be maximum of 2S, so you can get different motors as well, but I want the 3S. So once you get that in, that's how it would sit. Sorry camera. And I'm still going to put Another little grommet on the bottom. Slide that down. Tiny little quad to work on. So there we have our stack bolts in with the little riser and the grommets on the bottom. And then you can slide your stack on. Oh yeah. Stack is in, nice clearance at the bottom. I'm doing a dry fit first to make sure everything's going to fit before I start soldering on, because this will go over the top. And yeah, the back, these two back screws I'm going to have to trim down a tiny bit because they just sit in the wrong spot that I don't like. But before I do any of that, the Zeus in the UFL is on the front side here. I'm probably going to run that at the front, so the dipole antenna should run about that direction there, so it gives it just a little bit out the back. And it'll be that way. I will put some more spacers which come provided with the member stack in there to raise it up to about that distance. So I can't trim too much off the top of these screws, but I know that will fit in there. The hardest part will be to get the receiver in somewhere, but I'll get it in there. It might not look great, but it will be in there. I'm gonna cut these two holes off by using these. Grab it on the line where you want it gone. Give it a wiggle. Oh yeah. Camera moving. So that will sit like that. Possible I might even run it that way. Yeah, I'll run it that way so the heatsink can sit on top of the USB connector, which give me a little bit more room, which means I can trim a little bit more of those screws off. So I've just disconnected the FC. You can see the pins that connect it to the ESC. I'm doing that because I want to put on my XD60 lead. This will come provided with a little capacitor on it for you already. This is a bottom mount battery between the prop ducts. I'll just leave this full length because I'm not sure how long I need it at the moment. I'm also not sure which one's positive and negative, but that QR code at the start that I showed you will take you to a good wiring diagram here. And positive is on the left. So red, positive, negative. So we'll solder that up first, and I'll tin my wires. I'm going to solder on and tin up my ESC and all that. Put some blue tack down, keep it in position. You don't have to, but you can use some flux paste with a flux pen. Makes your soldering nice. Give it a dab. Wipe some on there. Oh yeah. Clean the tip of your soldering iron using a TS100. I've got a fat tip on there. Pre-tin it. Hold it on an angle, give it some heat. Nice. Same again. Touch the pad. Apply some, let it roll onto that. the pad there. Just slowly fill that up. Nice, a little bit more. You want to see it flow over the whole pad. I'll pre-tin my wires here. Spin this around. So I'll rest it on there, give it a little touch, shouldn't take too long because they're only small. That's on there nice. Bend up. Now you're going to have a pole that, the rear standoff that goes through there, so you want to have a little bend around it. Enough room. That's bad because I've touched the capacitor there, because I'm trying to solder around the camera, which is bad, so I'm going to have to take that off or we will fry this. That's not good at all. So this is what happens in builds, especially when you're trying to dodge cameras. So I'm going to use my solder sucker, heat it, try and suck it away, but my solder sucker's full. Alright, I got my solder sucker in there and I cleaned off that pad. It's no longer touching the capacitor. So there's the things you got to watch out for. It's quite difficult with the camera where it is. Re-tin that up. I'll try and come in from this angle. That's much better. Bump the camera again. And I just used also my smoke stopper. I plugged that in and made sure everything was right. It's real good to go. So I cleaned up the solder good. And I had to dodge the camera. So now I'm going to tin the motor wires, the motor pads. A little bit of heat. Don't need much. These are really small pads. That is the ESC prepped. Nice and tinned. So now I can plug, actually I won't plug the FC back in. What I'll do is I'll get all that pre-tinned to the pads. Once again, I'll put a little bit of blue tack on the bottom. So that's, we will need 5 volt for a VTX, ground for a VTX, TX2 for smart audio control, video out, and that's your VTX 4 wires done, then ground 5 volts, miss S bus, and then TX1 is my signal wire from my Ghost. So I need the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, miss 1, and then the next one. So 6, miss 1. Yep, I'm not doing any LEDs, and then as you see at the top here, cam, ground, 5 volts. And that will be the soldering of the flight controller done. So I'll get that all done up now. 5 volt. Once again, I'm on a bad angle, that's a lot, so ground, cam, nice. Rotate this, working down that way. Actually, I'll give it a little bit of flux pen, keep these solders looking nice. First one is 5V ground, TX2 for smart audio, and then video out. The next one is ground, 5V, which is for powering the receiver. I'm skipping one, which is S-bus, and the next one is TX1, which is the signal wire for Ghost. If you're running Crossfire, you would also solder the S-bus, and you would solder the TX1. The TX would go to RX, and the S-bus will act as RX, which go to TX on your Crossfire. That is the flight controller wired up. We shall take the blue tack off. And that was, I've lost a little grommet. Have I? No. Now, do I want to do the motor wires first? Yes. I'm going to do the motors first. That should stay on there. Alright, the motors. So this is the pusher, so they're going to go up this way on the bottom. That's right. It's the T-motor F10, tiny, 1104, size of my fingernail. The motors we'll be using 7,500 kb. Run 3S on this. They will be going upside down like this, but first we need to put on the prop ducts, prop guards. The T-motors come with a bag of screwies. I need the longer one, so I'll take you, and you. Those three can go away. There's a spare C clip in there, but you'll probably never have to use that on such a tiny motor. And stuff changing that. So the screw will go through the top. It's quite hard to do with a camera above your hand. One screw. Now you can see these have 3 holes and then 2 big ones. I'm running the 3 holes facing the inside of the board. Get one in. For now I'm just going to run the motor wires anyway. I just want to get one side of the motor on so I can hold that into place. So now I'll pull that away and I'll screw that one in just to lock everything in. It'll make it a lot easier, and you'll be at, because you can't see anything at the moment. I can't do it with the camera there. So I have one motor on now. It's kind of tough to do. The long screws do fit. Just make sure that they're not touching. The screws come through and touch any of the windings on the bottom. The front 2 a little bit closer than I'd like. From there, I ran one wire to the left and 2 to the right of the pole. I then thread them up through the motor hole here, and they will get soldered on to motor position 4 here, these 3, and the back one will go to the bottom 3. Do I solder these on first or do the next one? I reckon I'll do the next one, or put all the motors on first so it sits nice and level, makes it a bit easier. It was quite difficult to line them up, but just be gentle, you'll get it in. You can run 2 motor screws if you want. I like to use 4. So the next one, like I said before, I'm running 3 circles, the 3 holes inwards. That sits there like that. I'll get the other motor out. And put the screws through, and I'll do all 4 of the motors, and then I'll cut back once all the wires are hanging out like this. Alright, I have all 4 of my motors on now. This is the back side you can see I routed one wire to the left of the pole, 2 wires to the right. Same on this side, and the front ones, 2 go to the front, 1 goes to the back. Just splits it up, makes it neater. And on the top side, in the back one, the right cable comes through where the stack bolt comes through, and that will go to this last pad here. So now I'm going to have to trim all these up, tin them and solder them on. So you want to make sure you have the correct 3 for the back motor. Separate them. Nice, I'll do the same with these. Oh, that one was a lot easier. Separate them, give them a little pull to the side. Nice. I'll get me clippers. So this back wire here is going to go to this one. It will sit roughly where it is now. Cut that. Nice and short. I use the tweezers to pin that off. Plug in my solder iron, get that warmed up. The second one. Same again. Nice and short. Bit of pressure on it. And the third one. Little bit of a squeeze, not too tight, you'll cut it. There you go, that's 3 motor wires ready to be tinned. And if you're not a very good solderer, don't do this over top of your board or motors. Just tin the ends. Oh, camera. Nice. Now I'll use my tweezers to grab that one. Let me just try and really get this bent into the right shape. Twist it out that way. Sometimes you just got to manhandle them a little bit. That's about right there. Alright, and then I let go of it. These are all things that happen when you solder. Just don't get frustrated and take your time. It's okay, it could be better, but it will work. Get the second one out. I left myself a little bit more on that one, so it's good. Bend the end over with my finger so it's level with it. And again. Beautiful. And let's get this third one before it drops out. There we go. Line him up, apply a little pressure. Beautiful. That's one motor soldered on. Okay, I have all 4 motors soldered on. They're quite a tough little thing to do, but if you can solder a 16 by 16, you'll be able to solder any board really easy. Next step will be to put the FC on and start soldering on the receiver and VTX and camera. I can plug, make sure this is the right way, arrow facing forward. The pins have got to connect up to that, so definitely want it the right way. Be gentle, there you go, it lines up. push that in, nice and solid connection. Cool. Because it's so small, I don't want to be having too much excess cables running around with all the receiver and everything, so what I'll do is I'll solder up the wires to the VTX, then I'll solder up the receiver wires, and I'll dry fit it and see how much I can trim off before I solder it to the FC. So I'll just get that prepped. The HGLRC Zeus Nano VTX in 16x16 setup. All VTXs, analog VTXs, run off 4 wires. 5 volt and a ground, which is red and black. So everyone remembers those 2 wires easy, red and black. That everything needs power and negative. And then you're going to have a video wire, which is what sends the video out. Generally you always run yellow. And then in this case it says RX, but on some other VTXs it could say data, it could say SA for smart audio. So this one, RX, is going to go to TX, which is what does smart audio control. The easiest way to think of smart audio, it's a remote controller for your video transmitter to change channels and power signals. So that's what we're using it for. So for this I'm going to need RX, video, 5 volt ground. I will give it a little wipe. I cook this at 400 degrees Celsius. A little bit of heat on there. Nice. So RX, which is smart audio on this receiver. I haven't actually seen another VTX use RX. Video, yellow wire, 5 volt, red wire, ground, black wire. My RX will be white. I always use white. So power, ground, video, smart audio. These come with one end already open. I suggest tinning them again, because they're not allowed to sell it with certain solder on it. If you're not confident with soldering, don't use the components like I do, because you can get solder balls that spit out and will destroy it if it lands in the wrong spot. So, come here, smart audio, touch. What do we got next? Video, yellow. Come on. Just want to play. There you go. Then we have 5 volt, red. Everything you solder in pretty much has a 5 volt or a power supply, which is red, and a negative, which is black. So once you remember that, most things either have 1 or 2 wires. You just need to remember where they go, whether it's the receiver, camera, or VTX, and it becomes a lot easier. Ground. That is the VTX soldered up, which is going to run that way, and the wires, oh Lord, stay on there. So what I'll do is I'll tuck the wires underneath and have them running to their corresponding spot here. So I'm only going to need a little bit of wire. Bend them around. I'm not going to heat shrink this because there's just not enough room in this little pod. So that will run like that. So cutting this is way excess than I will need, but it just makes things easier. And then I'll keep these in my little spare wire box because they always come in handy. Now if I leave a little bit of excess and that folds down, that gives me the ability, so if I ever need to change anything, I can unscrew that, pull that off and let it sit to the side like that and work on things. So I will actually leave them that length. Now these are quite small wires, so I use my fingernails to trim them up. They're small pads, so you don't want a lot left over. Tin. 2010 tin. I'm thinking, so that sits, this is the top cover slash standoffs, get in there, which is going to sit here. My hard part is going to be putting in the receiver, because the camera is going to be at the front end here. Let's put that roughly where it's going to be. Camera wobbles. I hope I'll put the camera in now and I'll see how much room I've got behind that to fit the receiver, but I might even have to stick it to the side here or something. It's quite tight in there. But I definitely need to heat shrink that up because it needs protection, because it's going to be touching other electronics. So the camera sits into those holes there, but I'm having a lot of trouble getting it to fit. I've had to be drilling them out. It does not line up like it's meant to. It's quite a pain. So you're going to have to play around if you're using this camera, or you will be using this camera. So maybe this print needs to be redesigned. And so I think it was originally designed for a different camera, but now we're going with this one, so it's going to have to be changed. But it will all fit. Now I'm going to trim those wires very short, because they will get soldered to the front of the board here like that, in that spot there. And then the next thing I need to figure out is where the hell is my receiver going to go. So once I solder in that and the receiver, then we're all good to go. I think the receiver is going to have to tuck in there, in that little, so there's enough room there. Yeah, I'll get it in there. Alright. I don't want to solder the camera on first, because once that's on, this is now stuck. So I can do my VTX now and then put this bolt the stack down. So I'll get my spacers that I need, probably 2 on each side. This will go underneath. Very nice. Solder the VTX on, so that's going to sit that way, up the other way, so we'll do it across there. Got my chair. I need to get my instructions back out to remember which ones these were. I remember it was the top 6, but which one? So the first one is 5 volt. This one here. So it's not a great connection, but once it's on there, just enough, then I can push it down on top of the wire, give it another dab. 5 volt ground, which is black. Oh, my other tweezers are so much better. Once again, oh, you can't see, sorry, little touch. 5-volt ground, TX2, which is smart audio, which white, I always run white for the smartest of audios. I'm sort of having to go a little bit diagonal across it. Touch, enough to hold it there, and then pressure down. It's not happy. Let's check that one. And then video out. Right, we've missed one. Video out is that little one in there. I need to get a bit more solder on it. These wires are actually thicker than the pads. It does make it quite a little bit difficult. Try and use my hand because those tweezers are terrible. Good set of tweezers really helps. You don't want, this is the video wire, so you really want it to be good. You want all your wires to be good, but that's good enough. So that's the VTX done. So that will sit like it's that now. And we'll push it right down when we tighten it on. Not bad. So I'm going to put this on because you never power it up without an antenna. Push it on the UFL, and then I'll do I've continuity checked it, and I'll find my battery wherever it is. Green light, good to go. Plug that in. Got power to the board, good signals, and that light is flashing. So far we are good to go. Alright, we'll tin up the wires for the Ghost Atto. Red 5-volt, black ground, blue signal wire. These are good, marked good. Ground plus for 5 volts, S for signal, T for tramp telemetry. That's to be able to change channels from that. Your Immersion RC VTXs, which I don't use. Signal, negative, positive, a bit too much in that one. Don't know where my thingamawatts it is. Signal, I always start from the top up, makes it easier. Signal, cover the length. Done. Positive. Done. Ground. Done. That's the receiver wired up. Give these a nice twist. Plug on the cutie. Now I'm going to run it across the top. Oh, it's one of these. Is it open? These are a pain when they're not sent open, because you feel like you're going to rip this off. It opened it. push that on, lock the UFL locker, heat shrink, there it is, slide that bad boy on, heat gun, oh, can't reach it. Receiver is prepped. The receiver that is going to sit in here. I just dry fitted all before, it will work perfectly there. I'll probably run the antenna to sit on top like you would on a switchback. First thing I'll do is these wires here, and they need to be short, as they'll sit just like that. There's no props on top, so it doesn't matter if it's out the side, so I'll trim that there. Cut. These can be stripped with your fingers if you wish. Oh. Once again, don't leave too much exposed because only small solder pads. Now we need to tin that. Alright, so that's heated up now. Tin. Tin. Cool. Now, so the first one is ground, so we need the black wire next to the yellow one. Make sure you get the right one. Sorry if it's dark. Oh, yep, poo. So across them there, bridged them. Just take that off. Wipe. There you go, took the whole thing. Start that again. Didn't really leave enough on that pad. I will have to re-tin it. Took too much off. Check again. Yes, it's definitely negative. It's better. Positive. Yes, I'm positive. Need some more tin on that one because I took it off when I bridged it. Careful of the plastic screws. Good. And then your signal wire for the ghost receiver, it goes to a T-pad. The easiest way to remember is ghost is a receiver, so it goes to a transmit pad. So that's that one there. There you go, the receiver is on. Green light's activated. I have power to VTX, power to my Atto. All good sounds. Green light still on. Unplug. So far everything is soldered up good. The next is to put the camera on, which I probably should have left these wires a little bit longer to give myself some room, but I didn't, which was probably a mistake. Camera, but yeah, definitely should have left them longer because it doesn't disconnect from the back, so should have left them a lot longer. But you live, you learn. If I have to. Alright, that's tinned. Yeah, I could have left that a lot longer so it sat there and then I could have soldered it on. I didn't actually have that much, or yeah, I could have left a lot more. So leave those wires a lot longer than I did. You're gonna have, I just thought about nice and neat without wires, but that's not really paid off for me. So yellow is cam, same, it matches yellow VTX wire, so they're always yellow. Negative and 5 volts, that's it. So it goes cam, ground and video. Let's put this on. No, we'll do that after. No, we'll have to do that now because the top's going to go over. So I've really made it hard for myself by making these too short. In fact, I'm going to lengthen them. I'm going to cut some, I'm going to use some spare wire, lengthen them, put heat shrink over this, because simply I just didn't leave myself enough, and it's going to make putting it together really difficult. So that's a mistake by me. So don't cut them too short, unless you've got the clip that can unconnect it, but this camera does not. So let me find some wires. Just soldered them together and put some heat shrink over. I didn't get to show it on the camera because the GoPro 10 keeps overheating and turning itself off, which is very constant. I wouldn't suggest getting a GoPro 10 for this type of filming, because it overheats all the time. But that's not what this is about. Anyway, that gives me a lot more room to put this together. Get out of the way, heat shrink. So, because I want to be able to take it off and leave it like there, that's where I'll trim it now. So now, if I do need to take it off, it just takes up a bit more room in there where my receiver's going to go. But that's what you got to do. Cam, ground, so I'm just going to twist that into position. Now one's holding it there, it'll be much easier. Use my crappy tweezers. Someone wants to send me some new tweezers. Oh yeah. Ground, butt bolt. Oh. Alright, so ground and positive are going to come off because it's bridged. You can see that they're bridged in there. Maybe you can, maybe you can't, but just swipe across it now. There we go, to clear that pad. And we'll start that again. Ground. It's because this gets in the way. Camera touch. There we go. Camera's on. Receiver's on, video transmitter's on. Oh, final stages. So we will bolt this down now. And 2 screws up here. So my hands will probably be in the way for this. Same thing again, I'll get the screw on out of cam because it's just too hard. Before that, they're a little bit long. So I'm just going to take off a little bit. That's the beauty of them being lightweight plastic M2s. And there we go. We'll still be able to screw them down. Then that will tuck in, I hope. Put this in first. It's going to be rested in there by pressure. Yep, that's nice. There you go, lock that in. And when you purchase this, it will come with a small screw set to screw them into the bottom 3 holes. So open that. What do we got? You get 5 screws, 3 are the same, which are the bottom ones. Nope, we got 3 and 3. I'm going to use the big ones on the bottom, the flat head part and the pins on the top. I'm going to have to let go of that, but it's already holding in position by itself, which is good. And they lock that standoff frame in nicely. Don't over tighten it. These are proper screws, self-tapping screws into the TPA print. So if you over tighten it, you'll make it so it will not stay in there. Oh, I'm having a rough time. It's all because of these angles. I definitely need a better camera setup if I want to continue doing this type of thing, so we'll see. It's not lining up great. There we go. Nope, nope, nope. Camera wobbles. No, that's not lining up great, and I think that's to do with the camera mounting. I have spoke to them. Oh, there you go, it's in. They have said that there's a different style canopy. Maybe I got the wrong one. And the last piece of the standoff is the back one. Lines up perfect. Don't over tighten. I just keep hitting that camera. You're all going to get sick if you vomit. Just send a picture to me. And the last 3, the Grom top plate. Grom. So your 3 last screws tap into the top. Let's slide that back because the camera's there. Camera touch. 1, 2. And that. Oh no. So I'll put a zip tie through there and lock that on the top. I'm not too fussed where this cable goes at the moment because all the props are on the bottom side, so they'll be safe. And I want to get out and fly this thing before the sun goes down, like that. Moving them out of the way so I can tighten it. VTX antenna at the back. The cables, I'll put it later on, I'll put another zip tie around the back there just to lock it all in, but it's all safe. Before putting any power to it, I strongly suggest doing 2 tests, continuity test, so you can put it straight in the back, doesn't matter, no beeps. So that's the first test that I always do. Every time I desolder or solder anything, I always do that. I learned the hard way once when I thought I was good and plugged in and blew it up. 1 different quad when I first started. So now I have this equipment. It takes 10 seconds to plug it in. and make sure it all works. Beeps. Everything is lighting up. So now let's quickly plug it into Betaflight and give that a little look-see. Right, plugging into Betaflight now. I'm using 10.8, I use RC3, so this is currently on 3.5.7. I'm going to go to CLI bootloader. I'm not dumping anything across, this is going to be straight updating. This is the Mamba F411. Yep. It has an RC3 in there, good. Load firmware online. Flash firmware. Failed to open USB device, US port, alright, cool. So I'm going to run Impulse RC driver fixer. Searching for flight controller. Installing DFU. I've pretty much had to do this every time I want to flash. Done. Cool. It's going to give me the warnings that I had stuff open. Betaflight will open already in DFU mode. Update firmware. Should be on what I just selected, F411 RC3. Load firmware online. Flash firmware. Done. So now we'll go through the process. I'll fast forward this. Okay, that's done now. Click connect. Apply custom defaults. Yes. Close. So we're going to start from the very start. That's nice and level. Calibrate that. I've got movement. Yep. Ports. Yeah, it was. And that one would be smart audio. Save and reboot. Pretty sure HDLR sees TBS smart audio. I've not used that VTX before. Craft name. I'm going to call this the Grom 180, so you can take off at any angle. OSD, air mode, telemetry. Yep, don't care. I like to run number 5. Save, reboot. It's all preset. Fail safe, drop, presets. I'm not running any presets on this. Oh, actually, I will be running Ghost, so I'll go to my RC link. Where are ya? That one. I'll run race 250. Pick. Agree. Save and reboot. Pid tuning. I'll quickly put a set of my rates in. I still use Betaflight rates. 0.65. 72. 74. Set of rates in there. Not doing any PIDs, going to leave it stock. Receiver, IRC Ghost is correct. Modes. Let's get my receiver going and bound. So, alright, now I'm going to get my receiver going. So, I'm back my radio. I'm going to bind plus setup. Start bind. Plug this in without any protection first time. Real good. Bind, update. Oh god, I love Ghost. Good indicator. Halfway done updating the RX in there. Verifying. Success. There we go, it's all connected up now. Throttle, yaw, pitch, roll. There we go, we are bound, receiver's done. So, minute 30 it took. Modes, that one, save, open that, angle, beeper, add range, that one goes there, save, flip, yep, save, and I don't need launch control on this one, that's all I'll need. Yep, sweet. Adjustments don't need servos, don't need motors. We do need to check this. I always run props out. What I'm going to do here is first test that I do is make sure motor 1 is in the correct position. Yes. Motor 2. Yes. Motor 3. Yes. Motor 4. Yes. Now we're going to confirm the direction, so master, use my up arrow. It's hard to tell with these little motors. 1 is correct. 2 is correct. 3 needs to change. And 4 needs to change, so 3 and 4. Motor direction, I understand, wizard, so 3, click the button, test it, yep, and 4, yep, now there we go, motor directions are correct. Yep, 100% correct. OSD, normally I would set that up. Well, I'd quickly do it now. Drag in what I want. Video transmitter. Ooh, that don't need sensors, tether logs and black spots. So all I need is video transmitter now, which hopefully there's a preset for the HDRC one. There might not be. So I'll quickly go to the web page, VTX table, copy. So I found their VTX table on the page. Save, channel, race band 1, nope, power 25, save, and go back 1, back there, ports, maybe it's IRC tramp, video transmitter, device ready, yes, okay, so it is tramp. My bad. Save. OSD. Yes. Alright, let's go fly this thing. We've got to put the props on. So, easiest way for a pusher is to lay your props out first. Because it's easy to, when you flip it upside down, to put the props on to get it the wrong way. So prop out, prop in, and prop in. One thing to note is now, when these props go on, don't turn them upside down when you get up there. They go on exactly like that now. So I'm not going to show you do that. So you lift it up, put it on, then rotate it. And rotate the whole thing. Props are now on the Grom. Spinning out, spinning out. Oh yeah. Let's go test flight. We're using rubber bands. I'm going to put another rubber band around there to hold in the battery.